Today we're doing lesson 8.7, ways to find unknown length, part 1. All the way around, find the perimeter of each shape. Write an expression that shows how you find the perimeter. So remember, perimeter is the outside of a figure, okay? Kind of like the track on the playground. That's the perimeter, right? And so how would you find the perimeter of this figure? Zerelda?
You add side plus side plus side plus side.
Yes, very nice. You have to add all the sides together. So the expression we're going to write is P equals 37 plus 26 plus 18 plus 3. And I'm going to stack those up to make them easier to add. And so I'm looking for groups of 10 first, and I see one here. 7 plus 3 is 10. 8 plus 6 is 14, so 14 plus 10 is?
24.
24. So I put down the 4, carry the 2, and then I'm going to go 3 plus 2 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the perimeter of this figure is 94 what? Feet. P equals 94 feet. Okay. On the next one, they've given it to us in fractions, but remember, fractions can work together to make wholes, right? So here we have 4/5 and 4/5 and 1/5 and 1/5. If you combine 4/5 and 1/5, what do you get, Jackson? Well, first you get, what's the fraction you get first? 5/5. Which is the same thing as, yes. So 4/5 and 1/5 is 5/5, or 1 whole. 4/5 plus 1/5 is 5/5, or another whole. So altogether the perimeter would be? 2 wholes. 2 wholes. So the expression is 4/5 plus 1/5 plus 4/5 plus 1/5. And the perimeter equals 2 whole what?
Millimeters?
No. What's MI? What is it? Miles. It is miles. MI is short for miles. Okay. On the next one, we know that we can find perimeter by adding. What's another way to find the perimeter on this one? Jackson? What?
798 by 3.
Yep, that's right. So we're going to write down our expression P equals 3 groups of 798. And we have learned how to multiply using area models. So if we split this into 798 times 3. So we start with 3 times 700, 3 times 90, 3 times 8. What is 3 times 7? 21. We add on 2 zeros. 3 times 9?
27.
27. Add on.
0.
And 3 times 8? 24. Last step. Stack them and add them. 2,100, 270, and 24. When we add those together, we get 2,394. So the perimeter equals 2,394 what? Inches. Okay. So on that one, our expression was 3 groups of 798 because you see 798 3 times. What would this one be? What would the expression be for that one? Autrey?
6 1/3 times 4.
Yep. We're just going to put the 4 first so we can read it as 4 groups of 6 1/3. But you're exactly right. So perimeter equals 4 groups of 6 1/3. When you multiply a whole number times a mixed number, that means you have to multiply the whole number times the whole number and the whole number times the fraction and then put them together. So if we're doing 4 times 6 1/3, we do 4 times 6, what's that?
24.
24. And then we do 4 times 1/3, what's that?
4/3.
4/3. 4/3, right? Now, we know this fraction has a bigger number on top. What does that mean? Athena?
It's going to equal 1 whole or greater than 1 whole.
Mm-hmm. It's bigger than 1 whole. Where do whole numbers belong? On the whole number side, right? So we're going to take away 3/3, which is a whole, from the fraction side and add it to the whole number side. So what's 4/3 minus 3/3?
1/3.
1/3. And then 24 plus 1?
25.
25. So the perimeter of this figure is 25 and 1/3. Huh? Yeah, give yourself a point, Colton. That's great. I almost forgot the label. Centimeters. Okay. We're skipping number 2. 7.2. Ponder perimeter. Okay. Here are 4 shapes and what we know about them. A, B, and C have no lines of symmetry. So A, B, and C have no lines of symmetry. A has no parallel sides. B has 1 pair of parallel sides. C has 2 pairs of parallel sides. And D has 1 pair of parallel sides and 1 line of symmetry. That's a lot. Too much for me to remember. So look at them. Look at those figures. Okay. They're missing some numbers on all of them, right? So what we're trying to figure out is if we can figure out what those numbers are. Mine says we can't find the perimeter on any of these because each one is missing 1 or more side lengths. So mine says, I don't know. We don't have all the information. We can't find out how much the outside adds up to be if we don't know what some of the lengths are. Andre disagrees. He says we can find the perimeters for C and D, but A and B, you're right. We can't do those. Who do you think is right? Mai or Andre? I want you to talk to your shoulder partner or your table group about who you think is right.
I think Andre because actually not.
Class.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you think Maya is correct. We're out of luck. Own it. Own it. If you think Maya's right, own it. Raise your hand if you think Andre is correct. Okay. Andre is correct. And here's why. The lines of symmetry matter Because think about this for a second. Okay, if we have a triangle and it has one line of symmetry, okay, right down the middle, and we know this side is 6, what's this side gotta be?
6.
So if you fold on that line, this side's gonna lay right on top of that one. Does that make sense? So the line of symmetry can help you figure out it or find missing links. Also, think about parallel for a second. So in our classroom, the ceiling is parallel to the floor, right? They never cross. The ceiling, we're not at grandfather's mansion at Silver Dollar City where it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay?
Or my
So the ceiling and the floor are parallel. That means that if these guys are parallel, they never cross, right? It also means they're equal distances apart at all points. So if this wall is 8 feet tall, but we don't know this one, if these two are parallel, it's got to be 8 feet also, because that's how parallel works. They never cross, they're the same distance apart at every point. So that's why they mention the parallel and the lines of symmetry on this. Okay, so this one has 2 pairs of parallel sides. That means this guy and this guy never cross, and this guy and this guy never cross. So will that allow you to figure out the side lengths then?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what's the bottom?
4 centimeters.
4 centimeters. If the right is 7.5 centimeters, what's the left?
7.5 centimeters.
Yes. Okay. And then, because it says that D has one line of symmetry, then we know if this wall is side is 7.5, what's this one?
7.5.
7.5 centimeters. Okay, you with me? Okay. I think these are kind of fun. All right. Do you agree with either of them? Explain or show your reasoning. So we're going to agree with Andre. And okay. Andre is correct. We can find the missing values from the opposite side. So, actually, Andre is correct. Write that down. This is better. Andre is correct. We can find the missing side lengths since the lines are parallel or symmetrical. So copy that down. There's not a whole lot of writing today, but this is one of the spots. Bless you. Bless you. And then it wants us to find the perimeters that could be found. So under number 2, we're going to write down C and D. And there is a formula for finding the perimeter of a 4-sided figure. And this is it. Perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And on the map tests, they are not going to expect you to remember all of the formulas that you're going to need, so they will provide those. So then you just basically plug in the numbers, right? What do we want to use for the length for C? Colton?
2 times 4 centimeters.
Okay, so you want to use the length as 4? Okay, we can do that. So 2 times 4, if we're using the length as 4, And 2 times, what's the width gotta be? 7.5. Okay, so now we're plugging this in. Whoops, I should have written that over here. So, for C, the perimeter equals 2 times 4 plus 2 times 7.5. What's 2 times 4? 8. So the perimeter equals 8 plus, what's 7.5 doubled? Hazel?
14 1/2.
No. You got to double the 1/2 too.
14 2/4.
No. So what you're going to do, Hazel, if you're multiplying a whole number times a mixed number, you have to do 2 times 7 and 2 times 1/2. So if you have 2 halves, what do you have? 2 halves is the same as 1 whole. So 14 wholes plus 1 whole would be? There you go. So does that make sense? You got to double both of them, not just the 7. All right. So if we double 7.5, we could look at it like this way too. 7.5 plus 7.5. So 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2 halves. 7 plus 7 is 14. Since this is the same as 1 whole, it would be 15. Does that make sense, seeing it like that? Okay. All right. So 8 plus 15 equals 23 what? Centimeters. So this is one of the things you're going to write down on number 2, like right here. And then for D, the perimeter equals, so do you see how there's 2 7.5s again? Mm-hmm. So we're going to go 2 times 7.5 plus 4 plus 5 3/4. Do you see? Because the top and bottom are not the same size. Okay, so 2 times 7.5, what did we decide that was?
15.
15 plus 4 plus 5 3/4. I'm going to put the 15 and 5 together first. What's 15 plus 5?
20.
20 plus 4
24.
plus 3/4.
24 and 20.
All right, so here's what you should write down. You may not have written this part down, but everything else is right here. These we went in a different order, but either way is fine. Okay. If you didn't quite get that copied, I'll put it up again in a minute. Okay. Perimeter expressions. Here are 5 shapes and what we know about them. Not all the sides are labeled clearly. The lines of symmetry are shown. Only the triangle has no parallel sides. Okay. So, for which shapes is it possible to find the perimeter? Let's look at V. Are we able to figure out what this side is? Harbor?
No.
No. Because just given the information we have, we're not measuring with rulers or anything. We're just with the information they provided. We don't know what that side is, so we cannot find the perimeter. We don't know what this side is either, right? So we can't find V. Can we figure out the perimeter of W?
Yes.
Yes. Can we figure out the perimeter of X?
Yes.
Wait,
No. Yeah.
Yep, because it's got a line of symmetry. So if you folded it right here, this side is going to lay on top of this side. So they're the same size. Does that make sense? Okay. Can we find the perimeter of this figure?
Yes.
If you folded it right here, this side is going to lay right here. So it's 6.5. If you then unfolded it and folded it right here, this will be 6.5, this will be 6.5. Can we find the perimeter of this figure?
Yes.
Yes. Because if you fold it right here, this side is going to lay against this side. So this is 3 1/4. And so if you know all this side, and this is a line of symmetry in the middle, this is 3 1/4, this is 6.5, and this is 3 1/4. So let's write in the missing values that we know. So we're gonna do 3 1/4, write this down, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 1/2, 3 1/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/4. Okay, so we plugged all the missing values in. At the bottom, there are 4 expressions, and we've got to see which one matches with each of these figures. Okay, so for example, to find this perimeter, how many 3 1/4 will there be? Autrey? Evan?
2.
To find this figure right here, how many 3 1/4 do you see, Colton?
1.
There's just one. So if we come down here, do you see which expression would match that triangle? Zerelda?
The 2 times 6.
What's the letter next to it?
A?
A. Does this describe the triangle that we just had up at the top? Look at it, guys. 2 groups of 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, plus 1 group of 3 1/4. Does that match?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna put, this is one goes with X. Okay. The next one is 4 groups of 6.5. Which figure matches that one, Olivia? On these pictures, where do you see 4 groups of 6.5? Tell me the letter on it. The letter on it. The Y. Y matches with that one. Okay, do you see why? Because you've got 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. That says 4 groups of 6.5. Okay, the next one says 2 groups of 6.5 and 4 groups of 3 1/4. Todd, which figure is that? Which figure has 2 groups of 6.5 and 4 groups of 3 1/4? Do you see 4, 3 1/4 on W? Okay, look right now. This is 2 groups of 6.5. We've already used X and Y, so they're out. 2 groups of 6.5. Does W have 2 groups of 6.5? Yes, it does. Does Z have 2 groups of 6.5? Yes. The other thing is 4 groups of 3 1/4. Does that make sense? So if it says 4 groups of 3 1/4, it's got to be Z because it's the only one with 4 groups of 3 1/4. So the third one is Z, and that leaves us with 2 groups of 6.5 and 2 groups of 3 1/4. So that would be W. 2 groups of 6 1/2, 2 groups of 3 1/4. X, Y, Z, W.